Happening now, Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties both report an additional case of COVID-19. The details. Plus, New York State's Lieutenant Governor is discussing our reopening process.
Well, clouds and sun are around out there for this afternoon, but some better weather is ahead with spring-like temperatures. I've got the full forecast next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. One new case of COVID-19 was reported in Chautauqua County yesterday afternoon. Health officials say the case involves a woman in her late 80s. There are now 43 confirmed cases, with 7 of them active, continuing to recover under isolation orders. In total, 32 people have recovered from the virus. A total of 4 have died in relation to the outbreak. The 49th case of COVID-19 was reported in Cattaraugus County Monday afternoon. The health department there says the latest case is a male who resides in the southeast corner of the county with recent travel history to Ohio. Now, as of Monday, there are currently 16 active cases there, with 31 recovered and 2 deaths related to the outbreak. Well, New York State Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul joined hundreds of local business owners virtually yesterday to talk about the COVID-19 reopening effort. Now, speaking during the GOTA meeting session, which was hosted by the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce, Hochul says that both Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell and Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist will represent our area, part of a Western New York's control board. In response to why counties cannot reopen individually, she says that's because counties are interconnected as a region, and that regional approach is the safest way to still allow for flexibility in regards to reopening. She says that starting Friday, several businesses in our area that were previously ordered to close will be able to reopen.
Low-risk enterprises such as landscaping, gardening. There have been some questions about initially landscaping was even just for health purposes or maintenance purposes, but not cosmetic. And so got questions about whether or not you could mulch. Well, that's all been clarified now. Landscaping and gardening will be open statewide beginning on the 15th, as well as some other outdoor low-impact issues, impact sports like tennis, where there's not a lot of people gathering, and drive-in movies and some other outdoor ventures like that.
She reminds every business that if they are essential, they can visit the state's website to file for a certificate. Hochul says a new website, forward.ny.gov, was launched yesterday to help keep the public informed in regards to our reopening process. Well, as the Trump administration highlights efforts to ramp up access to coronavirus testing, the president is pushing for states' economies to reopen and Americans to get back to work. But there are highlighted concerns about President Trump's own workplace, the White House. Karen Kafa with the latest from Washington for us.
President Trump wants the nation's economy up and running.
I want it open safely, but I want it open.
Governors have said expanded coronavirus testing is crucial to reopening their states, and the White House said Monday $11 billion will go to help them ramp up capacity.
Our states aspire to do well over 12 million tests over the next 4 weeks.
By May 17th, at least 48 states will be partially reopened, with governors keeping a close eye on trends.
It's a risk if you didn't open up, and it's a risk if you do open up. And we're trying to do it in a measured pace.
On Monday, the U.S. death toll passed 80,000 per account by the Johns Hopkins University. And as President Trump pushes to get back to business, 3 members of his coronavirus task force are quarantining to some degree after contact with a White House staffer who tested positive. That's led to questions about precautions in the West Wing, concerns the president downplayed.
We have a lot of people coming in and out. Most of those people are tested depending on what portion of the Oval Office area they're going in. Everybody coming into the president's office gets tested, and I felt no vulnerability.
On Monday, White House staffers were advised to wear face coverings in the West Wing and to maintain social distancing. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
All right, Karen, thank you. Here in New York State, there are 7 metrics that regions must meet before they can reopen. Those include a 14-day decline in COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths. New hospitalizations must be less than 2 per 100,000 residents. Plus, hospital beds and ICU beds must have at least 30% of their capacity open. Regions must also have enough testing and contact tracers. Well, the U.S. hit a major milestone last week, and it wasn't a good one. 14.7% of the workforce is unemployed, thanks in part to the coronavirus pandemic. But while our day job may not be operating, there are still some industries who need workers now. Mandy Gaithner with that.
Whether you've been fired, laid off, or furloughed, millions of Americans are in need of work now. Luckily, there are a number of employers looking to hire during this time. Here's where to look. Companies like Instacart, Postmates, and Grubhub have reported record demand for grocery and food delivery. Instacart alone has hired or plans to hire more than 500,000 shoppers. Pizza places and fast food restaurants are also posting positions, one Taco Bell even putting wanted flyers in customers' bags. And let's not forget about all that online shopping people have been doing from home. FedEx has over 850 positions it's looking to hire. Discount places like Dollar General and Dollar Tree have remained open during the pandemic, and they are still hiring. Pharmacies are another good place to look. CVS has reported sales have been through the roof. With so many offices and buildings forced to close, demands for private security to watch over these places has gone up. One company, Securitas, is encouraging those who have been furloughed from other jobs to apply. Some more places you'll want to check out: education, technology and entertainment, manufacturing. Whether you'll need this job for the long haul or just until things start to move back to normal, there are plenty of options out there. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, Mandy, thank you very much. Well, a parade in celebration of Mother's Day took place in Frewsburg yesterday. Around a dozen vehicles decorated for the holiday drove by the Magnolia, formerly the Frewsburg Rest Home, with the goal of brightening the spirits of residents who are now in isolation due to COVID-19. Martha Dove says that since the outbreak began, she's been unable to visit her sister Helen, a resident of that facility.
She is deaf, so between having to have masks on, it's very difficult to communicate with her right now.
Now, the Magnolia is a Tanglewood Group assisted living facility that offers memory care support and respite care for seniors here in the Jamestown area. And it's great to see a lot of those smiling faces, even some of them, as you see from the video, brought to tears seeing their family members amid this COVID-19 pandemic. We thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of the virus outbreak. I want to shift gears and actually take you live here. This is a live look coming from the I-86 rest stop near Bemis Point, where there's actually 100 or more people there preparing to watch a flyover by U.S. military forces, which will be paying tribute to healthcare workers, first responders, and those who are fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. You see this coming from one of our live cameras, and WNY News Now actually has multiple reporters and photojournalists assigned to this story. And as soon as the flyover begins, we'll be bringing you live coverage. If you do want to watch this in a separate feed, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot here, but we do have a separate live feed that's broadcasting right now on our Facebook page if you do want to watch that. But just so you know, we will be cutting in here as soon as that begins. Let's switch gears and get a check of our first offense weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, it looks like not too bad out there for the flyover. Little clouds, though.
Yeah, we do. We have a little bit of clouds out there early this afternoon, but the clouds should break up as we go through the early afternoon. Here is our radar for you, basically showing there's a few light returns here. We turned the sensitivity up on the radar so you can see this better. There's a few returns right here. I'm not so sure if that these are actually falling, but there could be an isolated sprinkle, and the clouds are going to be thinning out as we go throughout the afternoon hours. We've got early clouds, but they should thin out a little bit as we go through the afternoon. It was breezy yesterday, 24 miles per hour. Essentially was the peak wind gust in Jamestown yesterday, 23 over in Dunkirk, and it's going to stay breezy throughout the day today, so just keep that in mind. Lots of clouds around on the HD News Now cam. We're at 40 right now at the airport with a healthy west wind of 14. There's a wind gust of 22 miles per hour, and the wind chill is down to 32 degrees when you combine the air temperature and the wind speed together. Right now at 41 in Mayville. Good afternoon to you in Mayville. 46 in Dunkirk, 43 Fredonia, 46 over in Erie, 45 in Warren, and 43 in Randolph. So temperatures are still below average today, but that's going to be changing as we go throughout the week. So partly sunny basically throughout much of the day. Some areas could get into some full sunshine as we go through the afternoon. A small chance for a sprinkle. Otherwise, clouds part later in the day. Cold and breezy. 42 on the highest hills, 49 near the Lake Erie shoreline. There's that healthy west wind of 10 to 20 miles per hour. Some wind gusts near 30 miles per hour at times. Another nice day tomorrow, and then big swings in the temperature as we go into the weekend. We'll talk about it later in the show. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, a local town supervisor joins us live to talk about his call to reopen our area. And we continue to watch the skies, waiting for a military flyover in honor of frontline workers. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout Cookie Program. Think outside the box.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. For the past 2 weeks, residents in our county have been calling on officials to move forward with the reopening process amid this COVID-19 shutdown. Joining us on the show now to talk more about his call to action for elected officials is Town of Carroll Supervisor Russell Payne. Supervisor Payne, it's great to have you here, sir. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Justin, for having me.
First off, I want to ask you, how has COVID-19 impacted small towns like Frewsburg?
Well, Frewsburg and the town of Carroll is a little bit different than a lot of areas because we have not had the influx and no reported cases that we are aware of in the town of Carroll and also in our sister township of the town of Kyneton.
So certainly that's good news on that front. I know that you wrote an updated letter last week calling on elected officials to begin to lift those COVID restrictions in an effort now to get folks back to work. How important is it to get our economy back up and running?
It's critical, even in a small town like the town of Carroll in Frewsburg. Several businesses are shut down. We have a few of our restaurants, a couple of our restaurants that are being able to do online service. We're greatly appreciative of their efforts. And but we need people to get back to work. We need our economy to get rolling again. And town of Carroll is a classic, in my opinion, of area, and one size fits all, like Senator Burrell has alluded to, one size fits all does not fit in with our going forward with the town of Carroll and, like I said, our adjoining township, town of Kyneton, where there's no reported cases.
How soon, as regards to a timeline, and really this is the million-dollar question, but how soon would you like to see a reopening, and what would that look like?
To begin with, we already have our highway crew, our highway maintenance crew, and highway department and water department crews are back almost to full strength now. State has allowed us to bring in those crews, but certainly we're affected by things like sales tax. When these businesses aren't open, the sales tax revenue for the township is affected, and it may hurt us down the road, but we're trying to plan for contingencies to allow that to be addressed. Many of our local citizens in the town of Carroll, anyway, it's not really what the town of Carroll has done for the citizens of the town. It's more what the community has done for the township in lieu of the COVID-19 considerations. Groups like the town of the Frewsburg Central School has prepared free lunches for all the displaced students throughout the coronavirus pandemic. Like you said, we recently had an Easter parade comprising of residents who remained in their respective vehicles and circulated in front of Magnolia, which is on our main drag here in the town of Carroll. And one of our local residents recently dressed up like an Easter bunny and greeted passing motorists with friendly waves and even music. So it's things like that. And additionally, numerous donations have been made to our local food pantry by the town residents as they shop for groceries at our local Tops Market here in the town of Carroll. Online donations were also sent to the food pantry from local residents and who lost a loved one, and it was a way to memorialize them or recognize their memory in light of the fact that we can't attend normal funeral celebrations or recognition at our local funeral homes.
Yeah, and really when you look at how towns and communities, I think that's one big staple of our area, is the fact that we all do come together in this time. And whether you're from a small town like Carroll or even not so much of a bigger city like Jamestown, I mean, it's really great to see them come together. In regards to the reopening process, why do you think it's taken so long to kind of get to this point where we are now, especially in towns like Carroll and Kyneton, and who don't have any cases of COVID-19?
Well, you're kind of, I think they need to think outside the box a little bit. We're lumped together with other Western New York communities and Erie County being Western New York all into one, and you can't really figure it that way, the way I look at it. Of course, in my travels throughout the community, I've seen firsthand of how our residents have respected the parameters set forth by the state and the federal government. And I'm proud. And I think that's a tribute to our community. And I'm proud that the citizens have done their level best to maintain that social distancing and the parameters set forth by the state and federal government. And I think that's one reason why we have avoided the cases of COVID-19 that you see in other areas.
Absolutely. And finally, what's your message for those in the town of Carroll as we continue to try to navigate this reopening process and through this new public health environment that we find ourselves in?
We're going to continue to work with our local and state and federal officials to try to return to normal as quickly as possible. People in the town have been great. The backing of the people in the town has been superb. People here are ready for businesses to open, and we really want to come back to be productive citizens for not just our town and our county and state, but also for our nation as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Town of Carroll Supervisor Russell Payne joining us today. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate having you on the broadcast.
Thank you, Justin. Thanks to your network for handling me interviews like this.
Absolutely. I think it's the best way to get the information right from the source, as always. So we appreciate it. Let's now switch gears here a little bit and get a check of our First Defense weather forecast.
Well, if you look outside, there's a few clouds out there, as you can see from the Warren City Bank Sky Vision camera. Traffic flowing okay over Hickory Street. 45 is our current temperature with a dew point of 24. And even though the radar has been showing a few rain showers at times, I don't think a lot of those are actually falling. The low this morning was 30 degrees here in town. That's close to a record. The record low is 26, set all the way back in 1907. But the good news is, last night is the last, or should I say tonight will be the last night of this frigid cold for at least a while. So the sunshine is deceptive out there. The sun that we have is going to be deceptive. It's not going to really warm us up today. Another frost and freeze tonight. This should be the last night for a frost and freeze for at least a little while. We warm up throughout the week with a few rain and thunder showers at times. So talking about this, I told you yesterday about how I was expecting the Weather Service to reissue these freeze warnings. Well, there they are, reissued for all of Western New York and Warren County. This starts tonight and goes until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And all the season planners know this. Basically, what this means is that temperatures down into the mid-20s and lower 30s tonight can, with frost and freeze conditions. You all know this, especially for the early planners, that any sensitive plants that are sensitive to the freezing conditions, cover them up or bring them inside tonight. High pressure has built in down to our south, but even though we have high pressure building in, notice the clouds building in from the west-northwest. That is because we're stuck in a boundary that's moving through. So notice the clouds building in through the afternoon. It was mainly a sunny start, and then all of a sudden the clouds just came right in. And this is not and again, we were not expecting this, but the clouds should move out. There's a line of clearing back behind here. And as a matter of fact, Future Scan shows that you can see the clouds moving away. Tonight should be partly cloudy. Then we'll turn mainly clear. That'll set up some frost and freeze conditions overnight. Tomorrow should be a mainly sunny day. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if some areas go into full sunshine for tomorrow afternoon. Zone forecast near the Lake Erie shoreline today. Temperatures hovering near 50. Clouds will break later in the day, but early clouds are definitely, especially the clouds will be the story early on today. Inland areas, temperatures lower to mid 40s, still way below average when you factor in the average high this time of the year is 66, or actually it's a 67 now. And temperatures lower to mid 40s, a few sun and clouds at times. Now, here comes the future. Coming up on the screen right now, 54 tomorrow, and again, a better day with lots of sunshine around. Wet rain showers on Thursday, 62, and there goes the temperature climbing up, 64 on Friday, but a few rain and thunder showers, seasonable on Saturday, only a small chance for a shower. We're up to near 70 on Sunday. More rain comes our way, but Monday, 67 and a few scattered rain showers. This is what spring is supposed to feel like around here, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's certainly starting to finally look like it out there. Dakota, thank you very much. Here's another live look from I-86's overlook there in Bemis Point as we await a military flyover. Was scheduled to take place anytime between 12:15 and 12:30. Now 12:30 on the dot here for our live viewers. So we're going to continue to monitor that and keep you updated as to when that flyover will start. And there is a secondary live stream happening right now with that if you want to keep watching. We'll go to break and be right back.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Speaking up for what's right. Helping out when things go wrong. Raising our voices alone or together. Not just breaking news, but breaking barriers. Fighting for victory on the battlefield and on the playing field. Seeing the world through new eyes and the earth from miles above. Redefining beauty, brains, and what it really means to be queen. Making ourselves heard on stage and on screen. Showing the way in Silicon Valley and showing up for others wherever help is needed most. Not just making our mark, but making a difference. Now that's a job for a Girl Scout. Girl Scouts, preparing girls for a lifetime of leadership.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. We're continuing to watch the skies. This is the I-86 overlook in Bemis Point, as it looks like hundreds of people are out there waiting for a military flyover that will be breaking away from a pack, part of a training exercise taking place in Buffalo, visiting Chautauqua County anytime between 12 and 12:30. We're continuing to monitor this, and we'll provide coverage right here on WNYNewsNow.com. Well, today is a big day for nurses all over the world on the front lines as they put their health and even their lives at times at risk for the sake of others. That's why it's so important to celebrate them during International Nurses Day. The day honors the tremendous sacrifices that these healthcare workers make day in and day out. May 12th became International Nurses Day to honor Florence Nightingale's birthday. If you remember, she was a pioneer in her field and the founder of modern nursing. The English nurse spent her nights rounds giving medical care to wounded during the Crimean War. For this, she became known as the Lady with the Lamp. Nightingale was the first woman to receive the UK's Order of Merit for her efforts, which is why it's fitting to celebrate nurses everywhere on her birthday today. Certainly, we celebrate nurses all across the United States and the world during this International Nurses Day, especially those there on the front lines, and we thank you so much for your work. Let's switch back to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter here with a final look at our weather forecast. And Dakota, I actually hear the rumble of jets over downtown Jamestown right now. Did you hear that?
Yes, I just did, and it actually it actually rattled the rafters here in the studio for a second. But I have friends who are RNs, so I just want to say a big thank you to all you for all you do, and I don't think that, in a way, I think we take you all for granted for all the work that you do. So, I mean, you really deserve this day to be recognized because all the RNs and doctors and registered nurses and everything, you guys help us keep us safe, and we just can't thank you enough for it. 26 to 34 tonight, partly cloudy and cold. Frost develops late tonight, so if you planted anything that is sensitive to temperatures, cover it up or bring them inside. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading our mobile app. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. We're back tomorrow. Hope to see you then.